class where your professor seems completely inaccessible, or where you don't know if you're going to pass until the curve comes out at the end of the semester. We have concerns about our campus services. They can be frustrating, or in the case of Britain, just completely abysmal. We have concerns about our campus life. Sometimes it seems like there isn't much to do on Friday or Saturday nights, or that sometimes there's the same event happening in the same week, held by 2 different organizations. But more than any of those things, we have concerns about our campus culture. It seems like students are more focused on getting out than on enjoying what should be the best years of our lives. So how does SGA come into the picture? It allows us to mobilize. It allows all 13,500 undergraduates to come together in working toward these goals and addressing these concerns. Is it the only organization that could do this? No, certainly not. Issues at our campus are not owned by one organization or by one person. They are all of ours to ignore and to address. There are 400 student organizations working toward addressing these concerns every day. However, SGA does have some unique strengths and resources. There are $5 million to allocate. There's an organizational structure that's been in place for over 70 years. That means we can hit the ground running from day one. And there are relationships with administrators that are valuable and necessary toward reaching these goals that we share. So Austen and I have both been serving on the executive cabinet for the past year. And through those positions, we've been listening to students' concerns. And we've made a plan for how we'd like to better Georgia Tech over the next year. So I'm going to let Austen share with you some of our ideas and what we've been thinking about.
Right. So like Elle said, we are trying to run SGA next year and kind of re-evaluate how it approaches this mission. And to do that, it has to start by changing some internal problems that are prevented from being an accessible and engaging aspect of campus for most students. How many of you know how UHR or the executive branch really run from day to day? Great, John does. John's one of my committee chairs, so I hope he knows what's going on. But for the rest of the student body, a lot of people don't know how they spend the nearly $5.2 million to pay student activity fees every year. That's a problem. So we want to create new representative voting and attendance records online that allow students to know exactly what they're doing day after day after day, spending that money. But we also want to keep ourselves accountable. Elle and I want to start a new dialogue over the summer with student organizations just like yours to see what exactly students need us to be working on in the executive branch next year. And then we want to publish this online and update it constantly so you know how we're getting things done and how we're fulfilling the promises that we make to you. Those are just a few of the things that we want to do. Those are just things internal to SGA. And let's be honest, changing SGA internally is not going to get the job done on a lot of these projects. We also want to look at academics. I've been working as the Director of Academic Affairs for the last year, and I think if there was one thing I want to take away from that, is that education does not have to stop at the classroom door. Y'all are a perfect example of this. There's so much more to learn in college than just finite element analysis, or stochastics, or other things that I don't really understand myself. But there's a lot more that could be happening. Now, we've made a lot of pushes for service learning and leadership development and interdisciplinary studies this year, but there's a lot more work to be done. So we want to start looking at new ways to provide opportunities for students to explore new ideas and take them from concept to reality. Elle and I have discussed creating a new undergraduate research and entrepreneurship fund that will allow students to take an idea and say, how can I serve the community? How can I start a new nonprofit? How can I add a product to the marketplace? And it would be based not on your past achievements, but on the passion with which you attack a problem. But again, at the same time, college is not just based on our homework, our research, or our jobs until after college. There's a lot more that goes on in college, all year, every year. And this is the time of our lives, so we want to make sure that campus is meeting your expectations, and that campus services in particular are meeting your expectations. So we want to start changing things around campus. We want to make sure there are more dining options late night in the dining halls, as well as in the student center. We want to continue to push for a new student center itself. I mean, it started last year with the new capital campaign. It's going to take several years to develop that plan. But make sure there's a constant student voice in that process so that they know what we're expecting of them and what kind of input we would like to give. That's just a few of the things we want to do on campus, but we also want to open the rest of the Atlanta area to students to make sure that they're taking advantage of what all we have here in the Metro Atlanta area. This year we had an awesome partnership with the Winter Park Center that allows students to take advantage of the Atlanta Symphony and the High Museum and the Alliance Theater. We want to build other partnerships like that around Atlanta with the Fern Bank, with the zoo, with the restaurants in the Atlanta area, with Major League sporting events that allow students to get out into Atlanta, and we can provide them an Atlanta pass that gets them out there with new discounts all across the city. Those are just a few of our ideas, but as Elle alluded to earlier, everything starts back with students. It starts back with your ideas and getting your opinions into SGA. So I think Elle now will talk to you a little bit about how you can get involved in the next couple of weeks and hopefully next year.
Yeah, so there's a number of ways that we would love to hear from y'all over the next week and into the next year. The first is that we're going to be out on campus every day from 11 to 1 in different spots walking around. We would love for you to stop by and just say hello, share with us an idea you have or concern you have about campus. The second, you can go to our website. It's creoledwards.com. Our complete platform is there, as is information about the campaign, what's happening, and we would love for you to comment on the ideas there or to reply to the comments that other students have made. The third thing you can do is you can vote. The poll's open tomorrow, and it's at elections.gatech.edu. And the $5 million that we've referenced a couple times now are allocated by representatives by both your major and by your year. And so it's important that the right people are in those positions. And then finally, you can apply for a position on the executive branch. We're going to open up applications on April 15th, and there are over 30 positions that need leadership from across campus. We're really looking for people who have both been involved in SGA in the past, but also people who haven't, who have other experiences and other backgrounds, and kind of bring something new to the table. So I hope that some of y'all will consider applying. So those are just a couple of ways that we would love to hear from you. And so we began tonight, and I said that I wanted to answer the question of what is the purpose of student government. And if you don't remember anything on our platform or anything else that we said, remember that SGA exists to serve you, and we want to hear from you. So if you only have 5 minutes to come by and say hi to us on your way to class this week, or if you're ready to really better campus by getting involved in the executive branch, take the time to get involved and take the time to share your opinion. Thanks.